Father's Day is Sunday, and Wager Talk has a perfect gift for all you dads out there. Lock in as many handicappers as you want for 3 days for only $29 each using coupon code DAD29. This coupon goes live on Sunday and is active until midnight, dropping the price of a 3-day all access from $69 to $29, coming out to less than $10 per day. Just go to WagerTalk.com, choose your favorite handicapper, use coupon code DAD29 at checkout, and repeat as many times as you want until midnight.
Welcome into First Pitch for Thursday, June 17th, Wager Talk's premier MLB betting show. We're going over 4 games. We got best bets at the end. Actually, 3 plus price underdogs on tonight's card. We got Dave Koken and Marco D'Angelo from WagerTalk.com. 2 heavy hitters on today's show joining me here. First up here, founder and handicapper at WagerTalk.com, Marco D'Angelo. We only get you once a week. Happy Thursday morning to you, Marco.
Hey, Drew, glad to be here today. I might be a little distracted at some point later in the show today. As we were talking before we went on air, I'll be having a horse racing back in Pennsylvania at the same time as the show. So this should be fun today. We'll see what happens. But looking forward to the card tonight. I think there's some good games on tap tonight.
Yeah, Marco, that's going to be I'm looking at this. I just bet it personally to have something going here. South Wind Aussie. That's it, correct?
Yeah. That's the horse. She's in a little tough today, but I think she can hit the board, and we're playing a little exacta box there. If anybody's listening live and they want to run to the Meadows, 4, 5, 6 is what we played in the exacta box. So you can go ahead and check that out. That's the Meadows race 5.
Yeah, Meadows Harness, race 5 here, South Wind Aussie. For all you watching live, like always, we appreciate you joining us here in the chat box, Wager Talk YouTube. Last, certainly not least here with, I believe, his first 5% of the year in MLB going tonight, smoking Dave Koken. Dave, welcome in. Happy Thursday morning to you, buddy.
Thanks, Drew. Marco, I'll root that horse in for you. No, maybe I better not, because that's... let's just say that the horses. Well, no, I actually did pretty well last year when everything was shut down at Will Rogers and Fauner Park. I actually did well because I had nothing else to do but handicap the horses. But now it's back to normal, and something that's not normal is I got a 5% play tonight. It's the first. Drew mentioned the first one I've had this year in Major League Baseball. The last one I had in baseball was in 2019. So they don't come up very often. And I know I've mentioned this before. Part of the reason I don't have many 5% plays is for me, and this is only for me, I need something that's unusual. It can't just be handicapping. There has to be a set of circumstances that makes it stand out. And I have that in this game. 5% plays have been fantastic. Going back to 2019, they're 24-6 in the last 30. 24-8, I beg your pardon. 20-6 for 2020 and 2021 combined. So when I have them, they're not very frequent, but they obviously win a lot more than they lose. Game is up right now. I've also got a free play, which you can view on my Twitter feed at Dave Koken, or just go to my Wager Talk homepage, wt.buzz/DC. I think the free baseball plays, I think they're 18-9 on the season. So they've been doing, and I don't play big favorites, so they've been doing pretty well. So check it out, and got some stuff on today's games that we're going to talk about here on the show.
Yeah, some good ones. And actually starting off here in New York, we get the Chicago Cubs and New York Mets. First game up here, Marco, 7:10 Eastern first pitch. Kyle Hendricks and Marcus Stroman going, the former Duke Blue Devil here. -122 favorite, talking about the Metropolitans at home. Total of 7. Marco, one interesting note here. Kyle Hendricks on a 7-game winning streak. That's decisions as well, meaning he left the game winning, and it actually speaks towards the Cubs bullpen, how good they've been of recently. But he's been pretty good, pretty solid of late. What are you thinking here, Marco, in New York?
Yeah, you can't, bash what Hendricks has done. He's a type of pitcher that, you know what you're going to get. It's basically going to be 6 innings, and he's going to give you, give up 3 runs, keep you in a ball game, turn it over to the bullpen, which has performed well for them. But, they're going against a Mets club right now that is playing their best baseball. They've won 8 of their last 10 games. And you want to talk about pitching? The Mets, over the last 11 games, have allowed 2 runs or less in 8 of the 11 games. If you're not giving up any runs, you're going to win a lot of ball games, and that's what the Mets are doing right now, and that concerns me a little bit. The one thing I'll say about Hendricks, as good as he's pitched, his 5 nighttime starts this year, guys, if you want to break down splits, his ERA at night is 6.83. and his whip is 1.51. So definitely a little bit of a difference with Kyle Hendricks when he's pitching at night. And the last thing I'm going to say about this game, the only reason why I'm not interested in grabbing the dog here with Hendricks, and I'm going to go ahead and lay the small price with the Mets, is the fact that this is a bad stretch for the Cubs. They finished a long series here. You look at what they've done. They played 2 series on the West Coast. Then they came home for a 3-game series against their arch rival, St. Louis, and one of them being the Sunday night ESPN game. Then turn around and head right back out on the road to go to the Big Apple. That's 4 series in 4 different cities, and all, big-time series. Now they're going to be, finishing it up tonight. I just think this is a bad spot for them. I'm going to go with the Mets here. And if you were looking at totals, here's a little angle for you on the Mets this year. When they've been a favorite, simply a favorite at home this year, 16-4 to the under with the Mets. You're getting a little bit of value, I think, on the total tonight because you had a rare game go over last night, and it involved DeGrom. So public sometimes overreacts the next day. I lean to the Mets, and I lean slight play if I'm going to do the total on the under.
Great breakdown, Marco. Love the day-night splits as well. That's an important one I like to look at. Well, Dave, tough follow in that breakdown, but what are you thinking here, Cubs and Mets tonight?
I'm kind of leaning the opposite way. I like Hendricks' form. He looked terrible at the start of the season, but he's rounded into form. And Marco mentioned it's typical Hendricks now. Goes out there, gives you a quality start. He's not spectacular. He doesn't shut down the opposition, but he does enough to keep his team in the ball game. Stroman's pitching well. I mean, there's no denying that. Numbers pretty close in terms of recent form. Interesting to note, by the way, the Cubs are 4-1 in Hendricks' 5 road starts, 8-5 overall, I believe is the number. And the Mets 4-1 in Stroman's 5 home starts and 8-5 overall. So not much to choose from there. Mets have hit the ball a little bit better lately. Cubs have been creatures of who like being at home this year offensively. They haven't been that good on the road. But look, I think the spot favors the Cubs. They want to get 1 game out of this series. It's been a bad series for them so far. Don't want to go home on a losing streak. I think they're really going to come to play tonight. Maybe the Mets are a little bit relaxed. They've done what they have to do in this series. They go back into divisional play tomorrow as they're at Washington for the weekend. I think it's a toss-up game. So for me, taking the price seemed worthwhile. The price is not great, by the way. It's only plus 115. So not a game that's on my card, but I do lean to the Cubs in this matchup.
All right, a little disagreement there in first game up. We got a second game here, the 8:10 Eastern time slate. We get the Chicago White Sox and the Houston Astros. 2 good teams. Lineup-wise, actually the number 1 team in MLB over the last week, and against handedness of the pitcher against righties here, talking about the Houston Astros, Dave. They're minus $1.25 going up against Dylan Cease. Total of 9 in Minute Maid. What are you thinking tonight, White Sox and Astros, Dave?
I mean, I'm a little perplexed as to why the number's going down in this game. Great, Cease has pitched pretty well, but this line opened 135 and it's now 120, 122, 125. Money on the White Sox. I'm not sure I buy it. Cease has not been as good on the road as he's been at home. His average game score for all games, 55. only 47 on the road. I just don't see it. And the White Sox are only 2-4 in his 6 road starts. Urquidy has been solid for Houston. He's got the better numbers, particularly when you factor in the home road splits. And the Astros are killing the baseball right now. So this is one of those games that wasn't going to be on my card anyway, because I don't like laying 135 if I can help it. And when I do it, it usually doesn't go well. On a straight play, I'll do it in other. I might do it as well. I'm not going to get into exactly when I do it, but there are times when I'll do it. But as far as this game goes, I just can't figure the line move. And generally speaking, when that happens, it's like I'm just going to stay out of this. It's not like I had a strong opinion on it anyway. And the money coming in on the White Sox is perplexing to me. So I lean Houston, not for a play, though.
Okay. And Marco, coming to you next, Dave bringing up the possible reasons here of why. I'm just trying to pick reasons. Urquidy, the 26-year-old Mexican pitcher here for Houston. Not sure if I'm pronouncing his name right, but in his last 2 starts, not Urquidy?
No, Urquidy.
Urquidy. Okay, thanks for that, Dave. 9 earned runs, 5 home runs in his last 2 starts. 13 hits, Marco. So maybe opposing lineups seeing him well, plus the fact the White Sox have the better bullpen of late. But heck, I not to say that I bet it personally here, Marco. What do you think of tonight, Astros and White Sox?
Well, I think the key to this game, Drew, was one of the last things you said about the White Sox having the better bullpen. And we know that the Astros can score a lot of runs, but they've been in some high-scoring games as well where they're giving up those runs, and I don't trust that bullpen. What I am going to look at here is I'm going to go the first 5 innings, and I think that there is an edge with the pitcher here. And you talk about are they catching up to him? The Houston starter, maybe, but I'm still looking. He's allowed 3 runs or less in 6 of his last 7 games. In his last 3 games, his strikeout to walk ratio is 22-2. That tells me he's got command of his pitchers. And so I think he can get through this White Sox lineup that you want to talk about, 2 potent lineups. I mean, these are 2 of the, the best teams in the American League. And we might be looking at, or is this possibly, playoff preview with these 2? They're both headed that direction for sure. 2 of the best teams in baseball, and they're hot right now. The White Sox are 15-6 the last 21. Houston's 12-4 the last 16. And as I said about Houston and hitting the baseball, they've scored 6 runs or more in 8 of their last 9 games. I'm not going to step in front of that. Yeah, the money coming in is a little bit puzzling. So you know what? I'm going to take a little bit of the equation out of this, take the bullpens out. I'll look at it first 5. And I think we've got an edge with the Houston starter, and I'll go first 5 Houston tonight. And if the sharp money is right, well, they can win it late, and I'll be fine. I'll already cashed my ticket.
He's Marco D'Angelo at WagerTalk.com. Dave Koken, 5% play up right now at WagerTalk, his first of the season. Going to want to check that out, guys. And shout out to the chat box watching now. Nathan, Avery, Joe, Patrick, all you guys, welcome on in. Jessica and Abby. Abby saying, smoking Dave Koken. We also got sassy Marco D'Angelo. He's got his horse running actually right now. In the next game, we're breaking down a good one. I like it. Milwaukee Brewers, Colorado Rockies tonight. German Marquez versus Brandon Woodruff. Brandon Woodruff's been good, Marco. 1.52 ERA, no more than 2 earned runs since opening day. But I don't know. The dog might be barking a mile high here, Marco. What are you thinking, Brewers and Rocks tonight?
Yeah, you know what, Drew? The dog does look tempting here because Colorado's coming off that sweep of the Padres. But you know what? Maybe they might just be feeling a little fat and sassy after sweeping their division rival. And let's face it, coming into this season, all the buzz was because of the offseason moves. The Padres were going to challenge the Dodgers for the West this year. So Colorado making a statement, for sure. You got to look at that. And then you also got to say, you talk about a team with a home road dichotomy. Colorado's probably got to be one of the lopsided ones of Major League Baseball. They're 23-14 at home, and then you take this same team and put them on the road, and they're just 5-27. So that would definitely bode well for the home dog here. But I'll tell you what, man, you look at Brandon Woodruff, and you want to talk about the model of consistency. This guy has had 12 straight starts allowing 2 runs or less. This is a spot where, I got to look at the starting pitchers here, and I like Woodruff over Marquez. And I'm going to go ahead, take Milwaukee in this one. I know they're not hitting the baseball right now, coming off an ugly series against the Reds where the Reds just totally shut them down. But Colorado has a way of waking up some bats when you go to that thin air. And it's a play for me tonight on Milwaukee.
That is true. And Dave, Marco brought up the fact, home road splits, the largest, the most drastic he's seen in baseball. I think it's the most drastic I've really seen in any sport. Again, guys, it's 23-14 at home, 5-27 on the road, at least for American professional sports here, Dave. I haven't seen anything like that. What are you thinking tonight at Mile High, Dave?
Well, look, first let's talk about Woodruff, who's just been phenomenal for the Brewers, despite the fact that oftentimes he doesn't get much run support. And on the season, they've got a great record when he pitches, 4-2 on the road, 10-3 overall. So he's gotten enough to win, but he has to shut down the opposition because the Brewers just don't hit. And if you look at their lineup, it's no wonder why. I still can't figure out what they were thinking in the offseason when they gave Jackie Bradley that contract. Jackie Bradley is a really good center fielder, but he literally can't hit his weight. The team's going to go. If this team is built for the playoffs with their pitching, because you got 3 absolute studs in Woodruff, Burns, and Peralta, but you got to be able to put some runs on the board. And this is a problem going into Colorado because this is a ballpark where you need to score runs as a rule to win the games. I don't think Colorado's going to get much against Woodruff. He's been phenomenal on the road. .284 OPS on the road. That's DeGrom territory. That's how good he's been. Marquez, like many of the Rockies pitchers, has actually been better at home than on the road this season, which is really weird because that's not supposed to be the case. But I guess everything about the Rockies has been better at home than on the road. I can't lay a price here because the Brewers are not playing good ball right now, and the Rockies are. But I don't want Colorado against Woodruff. So to me, the other option is the under. Why not? Just because the ball flies, you still have to hit it for it to fly, and Woodruff is just blowing away hitters, so I don't think the Rockies are going to get much off him. Marquez didn't pitch well last time out, but he's been in a pretty good groove lately, and the Brewers can't hit. First 5 innings under. Leave the bullpens out of it, even though the Milwaukee bullpen's pretty good. To me, if you're going to play an under, you just don't bother with the full games. There's so many things that can go wrong. Bullpens can go wrong. If it's a tie game, you can generally kiss your under ticket goodbye if it goes in extra innings. So I don't want that. To me, first 5 is the way to play unders. That's what I've done all year, and that's what I would do here.
A lot of good points there, Dave. It's always tough to bet an under in Colorado, but another point here towards Marquez pitching well. His last 20 innings at home, just 2 earned runs, 10 hits, no home runs given up. So for whatever reason, he's pitched better in Coors. So, hey, and both lineups against handedness of the pitcher against righties, the 2 worst in MLB, and both bottom 10 the last week by weighted runs created plus numbers. So might be a look here towards the first 5 under. Dave, you bring up DeGrom, Dave. I believe he left his start last night with shoulder injuries. Yep. Did you see that, Dave?
Yep.
Yeah.
He blew away the opposition and got another hit and another RBI. If they put the DH in next year in the National League, DeGrom might hit and pitch in the same games. He might do an Ohtani. He's that good with the bat. This is a major concern for the Mets. I hope he's okay because he's on pace to have one of the most historic years we've ever seen in baseball. And I don't want to see him shut down as a fan of the game.
Oh, yeah. Cy Young favorite right now. At least leader.
MVP favorite.
Yeah, for sure. And Marco, part of the reason I wanted to bring this up, did you have anything else, Dave? Sorry, Ben.
No, I was just going to say that right now we have DeGrom, who I think next year could be both a DH and a pitcher. And the AL MVP leader right now, I know the Guerrero fans are going to scream at this, and And, maybe they've got an argument. But if you're asking me who the MVP is in the American League, I'd go with Ohtani right now.
Yeah, Ohtani is fun to watch for sure. And Marco, part of the reason I wanted to bring this up, we've kind of had a discussion on the show due to the sticky substances in baseball and what MLB is going to do about it. We saw Tyler Glasnow kind of bring it up, in maybe it had something to do with him getting injured. Just seeing DeGrom going out last night. Hopefully he's okay, but we'll wait and see. Is this changing your handicap in MLB going forward here in the near future, and how you're going about attacking both sides and totals?
Well, what you're going to have to watch, Drew, is going to be on an individual basis and watch each pitcher and see if there's a drastic change in spin rates from them. If they were one of the ones that was using something, not that anybody's ever going to admit to using anything. So, yeah, be careful with totals if you start to see this thing turn around. But that's, again, we're going to have to wait and see. Vegas is going to be looking at that too. They're going to be watching, if there's going to be an adjustment in totals with them cracking down. But until they, actually throw somebody out of a game for catching them, then let's wait and see before we get too carried away with it. But yes, it is a concern in the back of my mind.
We're already seeing some evidence that suggests we're going to get more walks, more hit batters, and therefore more run scoring. I think it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's something to definitely watch, guys. And, the fundamental kind of basis of the handicap, I think, is going to change here. And like Marco said, watch those spin rates. Shout out to the chat box right now. Let us know what you think here with if you're changing anything you're doing with MLB handicapping. We got Johnny Outlaw here, Patrick, Ty, all of you guys. Thanks for joining us. Please smash that like button, guys. We got 28 likes right now. And almost 250 people watching. So want to get those likes up, guys, watching live here on YouTube or replay. Please like the show and feel free to leave a comment below. Let us know what you think about what's going on here in MLB with the changes that MLB is doing with the pitchers here. We got one last game to break down before best bets here. It's the nightcap for the show. Nightcap on tonight's slate here, Dave. We get the Tampa Bay Rays, best team in baseball. Rich Hill, at least by record-wise. Rich Hill on the hill for the Rays here. Seattle Mariners put Dunn on the hill, 8.5 the total, minus 165 favorites. Talking about the Rays here in the nightcap, Dave.
Yeah, it's a little pricey, but so too pricey for me to bet. But I'm not going against the Rays, who continue to be just sensational. Rich Hill's been okay. He'll still go out there and throw that wicked curveball of his, which when he's commanding it, you can't hit it. And he's up against the Seattle offense that doesn't hit lefties well anyway. 79 WRC plus on the season for them against lefties. So this is not their strength, to put it mildly. Dunn had been pitching very good ball for the Mariners. 5-inning stints. He's a twice through the order guy, but he got lit up in his last start. So you wonder if there's a bounce back or whether this is a sign that maybe he was pitching a little above his level and is now going to regress some. I tend to think it might be the latter. So Tampa Bay looks like the right side here. But again, it's just too pricey for me. If you're going to play the Rays, I would look for a partner and go money line parlay with two big favorites, which is not a bad way to go because and I'm not talking about stretching it out to 4 or 5 teams. That's stupid. But 2-team parlay with a couple of big favorites, you're risking less. You can still get a decent return. And that's how I'd probably approach this game.
Okay. And Marco, you interested in getting involved in the degenerate special last game on the cards tonight?
Yeah, I'm going to take a flyer with St. Louis in this one. I know, or not St. Louis, excuse me, Seattle. You've got Rich Hill on the mound, and yes, he has been good. But the question is, which one are you going to get? The Rich Hill that threw 8 games in a row where he gave up 2 runs or less? Or is it going to be the Rich Hill that gave up 4 runs in his last outing? Well, it was only 1 outing, so usually you're not going to get too concerned about that. But the only thing I'm going to point out is the only other time that Rich Hill gave up more 4 runs or more was the beginning of the season, and he did it out of the gate, 4 straight starts. Now, Rich Hill has had a problem, and I'm not saying, this is a problem because we would have heard about it, but when he does get bad, for a stretch, it's generally because he develops a blister or something he's had throughout his career. I'm just going to take a shot with Seattle. They've played well. They did lose last night. I went against them last night. I'm going to look for them to bounce back. I just don't want to lay this amount of money with Tampa on the road. I think it's a value play for me to go ahead and take a look here and take the dog at a big number here. Another advantage for Dunn in this one is this is going to be the first time that he's faced Tampa. We've always talked about that team's first game or first time they face a pitcher, advantage goes to the pitcher. And although Dunn had his worst outing of the year last time out, he allowed 5 runs in 3 innings. Prior to that, he had 9 straight starts, 3 runs or less. I'm going to take a shot with Seattle as the underdog.
All right. That's the home dog tonight, guys, and the Mariners' last game on the card. Now it's time for Best Bets. Appreciate everybody tuning in live. First up here, we get Dave Koken. Guys, he's got his 5% up. First 5% in MLB. 20-6 all-time 5%. The last 2 years, 24-8 going back to 2019. So, Dave, 5% up. Where are you going for Best Bets tonight?
Well, I have 2 selections, the 5% play and the free play, which Marco's actually going to talk about. And it's the same play as I have for the free play. So Marco clearly knows what he's talking about on this best bet that he's going to be featuring in a moment. I do want to pass along one other piece of information. And this was watching the Diamondbacks Giants last night. Zach Gallen is starting for Arizona today, but the broadcast team for the Diamondbacks mentioned that he's probably not going to be in there very long. He's not expected to go deep in this game. He pitched a 3-inning simulated game over the weekend. So I'm guessing that's probably about what they're going to do here with him, maybe 3 innings. Otherwise, I would have been on the Diamondbacks and Giants under because Gossman's been absolutely great, and Zach Gallen is a terrific pitcher. But with that information, means he might only pitch, a couple of innings here, depending on how effective he is. And I don't want any part of that Arizona bullpen, which is, it is just unspeakably bad. So I stayed out of that game. We talked about the Cubs and Mets. It didn't make my card because I'm not getting enough. But I'll for the purposes of the show, and again, I always let you know whether it's a play or not. And this isn't a play, but I'll use it for the best bet of the show, and that's the Cubs in the small dog role. Game I like better is the free play that's posted right now, and you'll hear about that shortly from Marco because it's in the exact same play. And my 5% play, go get it.
Guys, my best bet, I'm heading a mile high here. Coors Field, we get the Colorado Rockies hosting the Milwaukee Brewers. Now, Brandon Woodruff, one of the better pitchers in the National League this year. Don't want to take anything away from him, 1.52 ERA. But the fact is he's had 2 starts in Coors Field and 14 hits, only 5 strikeouts, 4 walks, over a 1,000 team OPS against. So for whatever reason, he has not pitched well, a mile high. And on the other side, German Marquez, the starter for the Colorado Rockies, 26-year-old Venezuelan, in his last 3 starts at home, 20 innings, only 2 earned runs given up, 10 hits, 0 home runs. So for whatever reason, he's pitching very well at home. We get the Milwaukee Brewers on a three-game losing streak. Colorado, those home road splits, we're getting them at home. Remember, guys, these are some of the most drastic splits I've ever seen. On the road, they're 5-27. At home, they're 23-14. So at minus 155 here for the Brew Crew, it is way too pricey. Too pricey enough. I'm on the underdog here. Milwaukee Brewers plus 141. Risk 100, win 141 if the Colorado Rockies come in as the home dog. Marco, finish us off here with your best bet for tonight, buddy.
Yeah, we're going to go to the Cincinnati Reds game and the San Diego Padres. And Wade Miley, you want to talk about a pitcher that's been hot. Now, I know this is a guy that a lot of the advanced metrics guys don't like, but you know what? It ain't broke. Don't fix it. Look at what he has done. He has been an absolute beast. In his last 8 starts, he's allowed 2 runs or less in 7 of those 8 starts. All right, let's look at the one start that he didn't. Well, that was in Colorado. We know a lot of pitchers don't pitch well in Colorado. You talked about the home road dichotomy of Colorado. But more importantly, that one bad start in the 8 happened to be the start immediately following his no-hitter. So I'm going to give him a complete pass on that game. And I'm looking at a guy that's been dealing it for 7 straight outings in my book. And you look at Cincinnati. You know I like to talk about scheduling situations and everything. They've got a big edge in this one. Yeah, they're the road team here, and the Padres are returning home. But look at what the Padres have done. They went to the East Coast and played in the Big Apple over the weekend. Then they fly back cross country and have a series against division rival Colorado, playing in the altitude, a little bit of fatigue with travel. Now you're coming right back home and starting a series on a Thursday. Normally, on a situation like that without a travel schedule, this would be a day off. They would get Thursday off and start the series on Friday. That's not the case, and I think it's a huge disadvantage for the Padres here. I'm going to go ahead and jump on Cincinnati, and I don't want to involve the bullpens because I think the Padres definitely have an edge there in the late innings if this thing is close. But I'm going to go ahead and take Wade Miley against Joe Musgrove. And I know Musgrove's pitched well this year, but remember, he played with the Pirates the last few years. So Cincinnati's got to see him a good bit. They know him. I think they get to him in the first 5. I'm taking Cincinnati. First 5, my best bet.
Reds first 5 plus price, guys. In the recap for the best bets before we shut this down, we got Marco, Cincinnati Reds plus 150 in the first 5, big underdog there. I'm on the Rockies plus 141, and to finish it off here, trifecta of underdogs, Dave Koken on the Chicago Cubs plus 114. So thanks everyone for tuning in. For Marco D'Angelo, Dave Koken, I am Drew Martin. Please smash that like button on your way out. We'll be back tomorrow. Same time, same place. Come back and join us. Best of luck with your bets until then.
Are you ready for football season? Yes, you heard right. The NFL kicks off in less than 50 days, and WagerTalk and Gold Sheet have you covered with the new Gold Sheet NFL Summer Guide. The Gold Sheet NFL Summer Guide is over 80 pages of actionable NFL handicapping information to help you prep for this season from a betting perspective, and best of all, the guide is free. This includes lines for every NFL game, schedule with Ralph Michaels' exclusive power ratings, position-by-position breakdown with every NFL player that made a start last season, exclusive NFL health reports for each team, and much more. Just go to thegoldsheet.com, and the guide is available on the front page with no sign-up or information needed.